Oleksandr Usyk putting on the performance of a lifetime. Tackle the legs. Tackle the legs. The champ is in real trouble here in round 3. The touchdown. Oh, the tap. He almost went down. He's Do you believe this?
And new heavyweight
Welcome back. You're watching Fox Sports News. Well, once again, boxing's heavyweight division has been thrown into chaos, with unified champion Anthony Joshua soundly beaten in a major upset in London at the weekend. Main Event's Ben Damon joins me now to chat through it all. Ben, should we have seen this coming?
Well, Sophie, Anthony Joshua is the superstar of the heavyweight division, one of the biggest names in all of sport. He's also probably the most impressive physical specimen we've ever seen in the heavyweight division. But Oleksandr Usyk is simply a freakishly good boxer. He's done so much, pretty much everything that there is to do in boxing. As an amateur, he won a World Championships gold medal and Olympic gold medal as well. He became the undisputed cruiserweight world champion, the first man ever to hold all of the belts in that division. Then he went up to heavyweight. This is only his third fight as a heavyweight boxer, but he put on an absolute clinic against Anthony Joshua. He won some lopsided scores. He had Joshua in trouble, as you can see, late in the fight and at various stages as well. He showed what an incredible chin he has as well to take big shots from a bigger man in Joshua and to stand up to them and to continue to come forward. So, yeah, I guess we should not be surprised, because Usyk is so very, very good. He'll jump right up on everyone's pound-for-pound lists as we speak. But with the name of Anthony Joshua and what he's achieved in the sport, himself a gold medalist, going to heavyweight and becoming such a big name in the division, winning all of those belts, and now he has been beaten and he has to go back to the drawing board essentially. But whether we should be surprised, I guess probably not, but gee, it was easy to see why Joshua would just be too big and too strong before this fight. Yeah, well, Ben, what happens now though? It's a rematch now. Anthony Joshua came out very quickly after the fight to say that he does have that rematch clause and he does want to take it. We saw him do this when he had that shock defeat against Andy Ruiz in New York a few years ago, when he lost all of his belts, took the immediate rematch and just boxed and beat Ruiz in that second fight. But this time around, well, you're not going to have a case like you did there with Andy Ruiz celebrating and blowing out in weight and coming in really nothing like his former self in the rematch. Usyk is a professional. He's done so much as a boxer throughout his career. He will work extremely hard for this fight. He'll come back perhaps better. So Joshua, always philosophical and so very positive after this fight, said it was a learning experience, said that he will improve and he can do what he needs to do to knock out Usyk in that rematch. And they've already given us something to look forward to as well, because they're talking about February or March of next year for the rematch. The promoter, Eddie Hearn, says he is adamant that it should take place in the UK again to give Joshua all of the favours, with Usyk coming from the Ukraine. So we just wait and see when that all becomes official. But it was such a good fight, such an incredible performance from Usyk. We can't wait to see them do it again. Ben, next up on the WBC belt is, it's on the line when Tyson Fury fights Deontay Wilder for the third time. Should we prepare for an upset there too? Yeah, well, Tyson Fury goes in a massive favourite in that fight after what he did in the second fight between the pair. Of course, the first time around it was a draw. Fury was dropped twice, but when they had the rematch in Las Vegas, it was Fury just utterly dominant, going towards the big punching Deontay Wilder and battering him and stopping him in that fight. It was an incredible performance from someone who we've known as a boxer throughout his career, to show that he does have that power to really bully the bully, because Deontay Wilder is such a massive puncher. But yeah, it would be an upset to see Wilder win that fight now after what happened the second time around, but he remains the biggest puncher in the world. So if Deontay Wilder hits you with a big right hand, he's probably going to knock you out. We've seen Tyson Fury get up before from that shot, but if he gets him again, then he may not be so lucky. So it would be an upset if Wilder were to win that fight, but it wouldn't be a massive shock.
Should we expect the Fury v Wilder 3 promotion to, I guess, ramp up now?
Yeah, we certainly should. Now that the Joshua Usyk fight is out of the way, there is a World Championship on the line here. It's held by Tyson Fury, the WBC version of the belt. So with that fight now coming up on Sunday week, Australian time, it'll be on Main Event Television. That is the 10th of October. They'll certainly be ramping it up. And there's even been some content that has come out across the course of the last 24 hours. Let's have a look.
I'm going to smash your face in, you prick. How about that message?
Tyson Fury, I'm going to be short, sweet and simple. This fight right here, you better be preparing. You better train your butt off as if your life depends on it, because your life depends on it. Don't go up missing.
Yeah, they're two very, very different characters, as you can see. I had the pleasure of being at that second fight and interviewing both of them. And Tyson Fury, he is a larger-than-life character. Tells it like it is, as you can see there. And Deontay Wilder, far more philosophical after what he went through in that second fight. He made a raft of excuses, but he does come back into this fight, giving himself every chance of producing that big right hand and doing exactly what he needs to do. The query, I guess, is how seriously Fury has taken the preparation for this fight. Not a fight that he particularly wanted to take, and we'll get to see on Sunday week when those two fight for the third time on Main Events.
Ben, whatever happens in that fight, is a dream unification fight between Joshua and Fury a long way off now?
Yeah, what a great shame it is. We could have seen perhaps the biggest fight in the history of the heavyweight division, with Anthony Joshua and Tyson Fury fighting for all of the belts in the heavyweight division, and it was done as well. The promoter Eddie Hearn had done all of the work. He'd found a venue in the Middle East. He'd got these two to agree to terms, and really we were just moving towards this fight. But then it was discovered that Tyson Fury did have that rematch with Deontay Wilder that still hadn't been taken care of. Wilder and his camp, they took legal proceedings and they found their way back into that position. In the Fury camp, they decided not to try and get Wilder to step aside. They were happy just to go into that fight and wait for this big fight with Anthony Joshua, should he have got through Oleksandr Usyk. Now it's shown that that was a tremendous mistake, because Joshua, he has to go into his rematch to get his belts back. Fury still has to get through Wilder. So yeah, it's a long, long way off, but at least Anthony Joshua is making some very positive noises about fighting Tyson Fury at some point. Regardless, it's a fight that all of the UK and the boxing world would love to see at some point. And here's what Joshua had to say, despite the fact that he's lost his belts, about fighting against Tyson Fury or Deontay Wilder.
This is the greatest show on earth, but for someone like me, I don't really... The road to undisputed and all that stuff is good. As I said, I'll fight Tyson Fury, Wilder, whatnot, without the belts. The belts is fun, it's great, it's legacy. But with or without the belts, I'll fight whoever. You know, the road to undisputed is a nice title to have and a nice title to chase. But would you still watch it without the belts?
100%.
Exactly.
Yeah, so let's hope that we do see that fight for the undisputed heavyweight title at some point, but we just don't know who's going to be involved. We do know that Anthony Joshua moves towards a rematch against the man who just beat him in Oleksandr Usyk, and on Sunday week on Main Event, we see Tyson Fury in his trilogy fight against Deontay Wilder, trying to hang on to his piece of the heavyweight crown.
Yeah, so much to look forward to. Ben, before we let you go, what is going on with the Lopez v Kambosos fight? Has it been moved again?
Well, it looks like it has been moved again, and it's just about to set the world record for rescheduling this fight. It has just gone on and on. It has been moved around cities across the US and has got another new date by the looks of things. Triller is the promoter, best known, of course, for some of the fights they've done with Mike Tyson in his Roy Jones fight and launching the boxing career of Jake Paul as well. Now they're going into mainstream boxing, and this is a massive fight for most of the lightweight division's belts, with Teofimo Lopez, who holds those belts, fighting against his IBF mandatory and George Kambosos. But both of those fighters have been very, very patient with Triller. Yet again, they have found out last week that Triller wanted to move the fight. It was meant to be taking place on a Monday of next week, US time, in New York, which would have been a Tuesday on Main Event. Now they're trying to move it back to the Sunday after that heavyweight world title fight. So it'd be a Saturday night in the US, but a Sunday here, the 17th of October. It appears that the Lopez camp have agreed now to move that date into that fight, but they also have some suspicions, as Teofimo Lopez has made clear, that perhaps Triller aren't interested in doing the fight at all and are trying to get out of it. That's what Teofimo Lopez has been saying. But George Kambosos, we're not sure whether he has agreed just yet, his team, to make that move to the new date, but it does appear that that's where we're headed. So yet another new date for this massive fight for an Australian overseas, with George Kambosos to travel to the US to fight against Teofimo Lopez. We now think we'll see it on the Sunday, the 17th of October on Main Event.